Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekly fundamental podcast. I am Rasmi Koza from Kotak Securities. To start with, on the international front, global indices in the form of MSCI World Index and MSCI Emerging Market Index ended flat last week. Within the US, the Dow Jones gained 1.8% while the Nasdaq Composite Index lost 2.1% last week. Equities pulled back on Friday on the back of US jobs data and Fed chairman's statement that rising yields had caught his eye and he would be concerned by disorderly conditions in markets. The unemployment rate in the US dropped to 6.2% as per latest data. The US Senate passed the US dollar 1.9 trillion stimulus bill on Saturday. According to the latest Bloomberg monthly survey of economists, the package is large enough to drive US GDP growth to 5.5% this calendar year. The stimulus, which may arrive in late March or early April, aims to distribute around US dollar $414 billion to households, sending dollar 1,400 to each qualifying adult having annual income of up to US dollar 75,000. This dollar 1400 is far higher than the dollar 600 paid in the previous round of stimulus. The rising energy prices and COVID-19 vaccination is fueling bets that an economic rebound will spur inflation. There are fresh concerns that central banks may withdraw policy support amid mounting evidence of faster than anticipated economic recovery. The financing costs have also started to bounce back from the recent lows. In fact, the US 10-year yields have now gone way above 1.5% and settled at 1.56% last week. While the Federal Reserve's guidance is that a hike is unlikely until at least 2024, but the money markets in the US are positioned for interest rates to start rising again by end of next calendar year. According to estimates by Bloomberg Economics, consumers in the world's largest economies like US, China, UK, Japan and Euro areas have saved $2.9 trillion during COVID related lockdowns. Nearly half of this, that is almost US dollar 1.5 trillion, is saved in US alone. The vast hoarding of cash creates the potential for a powerful recovery as consumers could go on a shopping spree once activity goes back to normal. The low interest rates could also entice consumers to spend rather than keep money in banks. Somehow things are changing too fast. The popular trades of 2020 spanning tech stocks to emerging markets is on the firing line. The Nasdaq Composite Index has fallen 8% from the recent peak and also has broken the 50-day moving average. Tesla has also corrected nearly 32% from its peak. On the other hand, the dollar index, which took support near its previous low of 89, has now bounced back to 92 levels. Going forward, any further gains in the dollar index could lead to some squeeze in emerging market flows and also gold prices. Last week, OPEC Plus decided to keep a tight control on oil production for the next month, sending Brent crude prices to nearly US dollar 69 per barrel. There was expectation of additional supply of 1.5 million barrels per day, which has been kept on hold. Brent crude prices have now rallied by nearly 34% in this calendar year to date, which along with other commodity prices when seen is likely to fuel and increase inflation going forward. Coming to India, Indian markets pulled back last week even though concerns on bond yields have escalated. The Nifty 50 and BSE Sensex closed around 2.8% higher last week with heavy action in the mid and small cap space. The Nifty Mid Cap 100 Index and BSE Small Cap Index gained 3.5% and 3.9% respectively last week. Old economy sectors have performed better last week with bigger gains seen in BSE Utilities, which is up 5.3%, and BSE Energy Index, which was up 4.5%. Somehow BSE IT Index also pulled back last week with 4.1% gains. Except for telecom, all the BSE sectoral indices ended in the green with 1.7 to 5.3% gains. Even though the number of cases have started to increase in India, it has no major impact on the high frequency economic indicators we track. Vaccination in India has started to pick up and we expect closer to 1 crore doses administered per day in the coming weeks. Few indicators like electricity consumption, railway freight volume, daily EVA bills generated and port volumes have shown growth in February on a YOY basis. On flows this year, both on weekly and on year to date basis, India is one of the few countries to receive healthy FPI flows. Amongst emerging markets, Taiwan and South Korea have seen outflows of $9.4 billion and $8.1 billion respectively in this calendar year to date basis. In contrast, India has received $5.8 billion of FPI inflows this calendar year to date. In case of other emerging markets, most of them have seen marginal outflows on a year to date basis. Our assessment is that ultra loose monetary policies of global central banks will lead to excess capital which may dampen returns eventually. The recent tussle between central banks to engineer a smooth exit strategy from their ultra loose monetary policies and rising worries of the bond market related to higher than expected inflation may force a faster than assumed exit of central banks from their admitted accommodative stance. We can expect higher volatility in March as the February monthly expiry closing was weak. Post the union budget and earnings season, there is no major domestic trigger that can drive a market, so we will have to be at the mercy of global cues and developments in the global markets. For Nifty 50, the 50-day moving average at 14,586 is crucial support level to watch out for future. In case if the Nifty 50 breaks the 50-day moving average level, then it can slide below the 14,000 mark to around 13,600 levels. In the near future, broadly we expect 14,500 to 15,500 to be the range to watch out. The Nasdaq Composite Index has broken the 50-day moving average decisively and could head towards the 200-day moving average, which is nearly 10% away from the current levels. The S&P 500 is also hovering around its 50-day moving average. In case the S&P 500 also breaks the 50-day moving average decisively in future, then it can attempt to test the 200-day moving average, which is 10% below current levels. So both of them probably can see a 9 to 10% correction if markets decisively correct in future. In case of Nifty 50, the 200-day moving average is 18% away from the current levels, which is quite far away. In future, any market correction, one should focus on economy-driven sectors. That's our recommendations. Sectors like banks, cement, metals, oil and gas, construction, capital goods and engineering and utilities. These are the sectors to watch out for. On selective basis, one can consider telecom and FMCG stocks also in declines. So that's it from my side for this week. Thanks everyone for listening to the podcast. Have a great week ahead.